Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. So I'm going to give you an example of a debate. The motion will be, this House believes that the environment is more important than the economy. So the proposition is going to start off. That'll be me. All right, a turncoat debate. Might do it that way. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, we believe the environment is more important than the economy for 4 reasons, and here they are. First of all, we cannot have a life at all of any quality without the planet. Second of all, it's about making that life better, not just simply staying alive. Third of all, this is the route to happiness, not riches. And first of all, the environment, well, we are from the environment. We are living things. That's why we have to respect it. I'm going to go over those again in greater detail. So we can't live without clean air. There are cities, let's say in China, where there's very, very high pollution, 500 PMI. That's a rating of pollution. And that's extremely dangerous. People are dying of respiratory conditions. If you've got something like asthma, that would be enough to kill you. It causes lung cancer. So that's it. We could have toxic chemicals in rivers killing us in huge numbers. It's dreadful. So if we want to stay alive, not just as a species, but as individuals, we have to have a clean planet, right? It's no good thinking we're richer, if we die. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his life? The ozone layer, cancerous rays causing skin cancer and so on. So for countless reasons, simply to stay alive, we have to value the environment over the economy. And no amount of money can cure you of an inoperable cancer or something of that nature. So come on to the second one, about quality of life. Which would you rather? Would you rather live in a nice place or just have a tiny bit more money? Money is not the only thing that matters. Money does not guarantee happiness. So pollution, we want to reduce that for a better quality of life. We want less noise pollution, want less traffic, not to be wasting your life stuck in traffic jams. We don't want a stench around us. And does owning more things really make us happier? No, it doesn't. There's wealth fatigue syndrome. They're billionaires who are miserable. That was John Paul Getty. And indeed, there are people with very little who are content. It's about being grateful for what you have, not always craving more. We do not make people happier by simply multiplying their desires and making them dissatisfied with all that they have. At some point, development has to end. Not in the developing countries, but the very wealthy ones. Supposing we all had a helicopter, would a chopper all make us wealthier? Well, we could travel around faster, but imagine the noise pollution, and imagine the pollution of the air. No, it would actually make us worse off. We might, in theory, have more money, but it would make the quality of life worse. So we can be happy with less. This fixation with material possessions and ostentation, showing off, trying to outdo each other, keeping up with the Joneses by purchasing more, is a route to misery. We've created wants which can never be satisfied. Some people are insatiable. So we need to deal with poverty, not simply enrich the people who are already filthy rich. And we have those two words together in expression for a reason. Filthy rich, because often their wealth causes pollution in the developing world, with toxic waste being dumped, with nuclear waste being sent to poorer countries, and so on, with things which are not biodegradable being sent away, with more pollution by more factories in countries with lax environmental legislation, and workers suffering in dangerous conditions, poverty pay, just to create more consumer goods for a consumerist society. So we have enough for everyone's need. We will never have enough for some people's greed. So you've got to stop being so avaricious. So we are natural. We must remember that we are animals. I mean that in a positive sense. So we need greenery and so on. Imagine we had no parks. Imagine those were sold off. Well, somebody would make some money by selling them, but we would be poorer in reality because we wouldn't have green space. We wouldn't be able to commune with nature. So for the foregoing reasons, I submit that this House must support this vital motion. We need to live. That's why the environment matters more. We want a higher quality of life. First, also because the economy does not make us happy. Once our basic needs are satisfied, we do not need to endlessly acquire more junk and status symbols. And last of all, we are of the environment. In saving the environment, we save ourselves. So now, is this a turncoat debate? I'll go to the other side straight away and with the opposition. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the House, we are against this dreadful motion for a number of reasons. First of all, poverty. It's a race against time. We are trying to save people. People are dying every day in their thousands, avoidably, because of people such as those on the other side of the aisle. Second of all, because health, actually, by enriching ourselves, we will have better health. Third of all, it's actually about raising quality of life, not lowering it. That's why the economy matters more than the environment. And last of all, we need to raise ourselves above the level of beasts. So on to poverty. Not talking about an affluent country like this, but there's some people who live in abject penury, people who are penniless, people who are starving to death, and that will only be solved by development, by enriching them so that they have more food, a decent place to live, building houses. They're against building houses. Which is worse? The park being turned into houses or people being homeless? Which is worse? There are homeless people living in the park. Are you against that? You want to kick them out? You claim you want to help the penurious, but in fact you don't. You want to brutalise them. So some people have no clean water, some children have no vaccinations, some people can't get to school because there's no public transport or there is no school. We need to help them, and that means building more factories, more economic development, getting them electricity and running water, the kind of thing they would oppose. The other side of the House, do you have electricity? Do you have running water? That's development. Practice what you preach. Why is it do as I say, not do as I do? Why don't you go and build your log cabin and live there as though we're in the Middle Ages? No. Charity starts at home. If you really believe in being against development, then you should lead by example. Instead of saying those who are already living in abject poverty should suffer more, just so you can sound them on high tone. Coming on to medicine. Well, talked about medicine, quite right. It's incredibly expensive, medical treatment. So people can only afford it if their economy is thriving. We would make medicines more affordable, there's more medical research, more money for hospitals and so forth, and that would save a great number of lives. A lot of children are dying needlessly because of pro-poverty campaigning by people on the other side of the House. So economic development saves lives. There's no two ways about it. Why do we have very low child mortality? Because we defeated poverty and we lifted ourselves up, economically speaking. Talk about quality of life. Electricity is quality of life. Having a decent house. Children having their own bedroom, not the whole family in one room. That is through capitalism. Having cars, vehicles like ambulances, they save lives. That's environmental. That's bad for the environment, is it? How about helicopter ambulances? And you particularly railed against helicopters. So economic development is a lifesaver. Oh yes, we do need oil from this. Now I realise there should be some limitation. We don't want to concrete over all green spaces. And okay, we're going to have higher taxes on the wealthy or something like that. But clearly the economy matters more if we are to give people a better quality of life with a few consumer goods, with a few of the good things in life, being able to afford a few items of clothing and dining out, and holidays once in a while. You're against flying around the world. Have you ever been on a plane? Have you been to Greece? Did you swim there? You didn't swim. If you flew, well then, you're a complete hypocrite. All right. Is there anyone here who's never been in a car? Hands up. Anybody? Right. Nobody has refused to go in a car. Therefore, we all agree we should be allowed to travel by car. So we have to raise ourselves above the level of beings animalculous. Yes, Homo sapiens. I know we're animals in some sense that we have big brains and we can develop all these things, and we don't want to make animals go extinct. And it's only because we have money and technology we're able to save animals. Animals go extinct anyway. They always have. Who's going to bring back the dinosaurs? So we adapt the environment to ourselves rather than ourselves to the environment. That's why we can live in very cold climates, very hot climates. If you went to a place that's scorching hot, would you not turn on the air conditioning? Come on, don't be ridiculous. So we're not going to go back to being apes. You could go and live in the forest or in a cave if that's what you really believe. But as for me, I have this strange habit called washing. So we have hot water, we have running water, and that's why we need development. That's hygiene, and that helps us stay alive longer. This is first world bourgeois nonsense. It is gross waffle of rich people who are foisting their own ridiculous prejudices on the needy. They somehow think that poverty is picturesque. it's obscene. So for some of the reasons I've already adumbrated, this House should reject this monstrous motion, because we we know that the economy is more important than the environment. And let me remind you the reasons: because we want to save lives, because we want to provide medicine, we want to provide people with a decent quality of life, and lastly of all, because we are human, and only through economic development can human dignity be achieved. And that is why I know that the House will reject this terrible motion.